You ever get the feeling like we try to put people, into these like neat little boxes, like, oh, he's a lawyer or she's a professor. But what about the people who just don't fit neatly into one label?
Yeah.
That's what today's deep dive is all about.
Okay.
One of those people, someone who's blending law and finance and education and even like a bit of online savvy.
Right.
We're digging into the work of Dr. Ioannis Glenavos.
Okay.
And you, my friend, are coming along for the ride.
Sounds fascinating. This is so relevant. Like, in an age where information is everywhere, it's like the people who can connect the different fields who are going to make the real breakthroughs.
And Glenavos' career path.
Yeah.
Talk about connecting the dots.
Okay.
We've got his professional profiles. We've got publications. We're ready to dive in.
Let's do it.
So to start, Glenavos is the director of Glintis Ltd. It's his own academic consulting firm.
Oh, wow.
Already tells you right off the bat,
Yeah.
this isn't your typical academic.
No kidding.
Huh.
That's so interesting how academia itself is changing, right? It's not just about those research papers anymore. It's about, like, making that knowledge useful
Totally.
in the real world.
Entrepreneurial spirit check. But let's rewind a bit.
Okay.
Glenavos has been a senior lecturer in law at the University of Westminster since 2014.
Wow.
And this isn't some side gig teaching, is clearly something he's super passionate about.
Yeah, and his dedication to education goes even deeper.
Oh.
Since 2006, he's also been an associate lecturer at the Open University.
Okay.
And if you don't know, they're known for making education super accessible, which, again, fits perfectly with what we're seeing with Glenavos, this drive to share knowledge really widely.
And we'll definitely see that in his work. But
Yeah.
before we jump ahead too much,
Yeah.
Glenavos hasn't been tied to just one place.
Interesting.
He's held positions at SOS, Kingston. Rating seems like he enjoys experiencing all these different academic environments.
Yeah, cool.
But to really understand where his expertise lies, we got to go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Glenavos, he began his journey as a trainee at Varatzos law firm in Athens.
Okay.
This legal foundation is super crucial to how he approaches all his work, even today.
And it makes sense that that background fuels his interest in that connection point between law and finance,
Yep.
especially during times of crisis.
And he doesn't just think about it, he wrote the book on it.
Literally.
Well, one of them at least. It's called Redefining the Market-State Relationship.
Catchy.
And in it, he dives deep into how law plays this critical role
Yeah.
during those major financial shakeups.
One of his key arguments is that the traditional legal frameworks, they often struggle to keep up with how, to a wider audience, like sovereign debt arbitration, that can feel pretty opaque to a lot of people.
Yeah, for most people.
Right. Essentially, it's a way to resolve these disputes between countries
Okay.
and private entities that have lent them money.
So like those massive loans that governments take on,
Exactly.
and then it gets tricky when it comes to repayment.
Yeah, and Glenavos has really been in the weeds with this stuff,
Right.
like examining how these legal processes actually play out on a global scale.
So he's taking these super complex, like high-stakes situations
Oh, yeah.
and finding ways to actually make them understandable.
Yeah.
And this is where online education comes in.
This is it. Glenavos sees online learning as like this key
Uh-huh.
to unlocking access to all this knowledge.
Okay.
He's developed e-courses. He's created micro-credentials, which, by the way, are like those mini certifications.
Oh, yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, you can earn them to show off specific skills.
Super valuable.
Huge in today's job market.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the man is all in on making learning happen outside of those traditional classrooms.
Which, again, it all links back to his time at the Open University.
Totally.
Their whole thing is making education available to everyone.
It's like the pandemic just turbocharged something that he was already so passionate about.
Yeah.
It's not just about like, oh, these online tools are trendy, let's use them. It's about understanding how they can like fundamentally change who gets to learn
Right.
and who gets left behind.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about what Glenavos is doing.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about the driving force behind it all.
Right.
Like, what's the why for this guy?
Well, it's pretty clear that he's driven by this really deep-seated belief in making these complex topics understandable.
Yeah, you can really see
He
him
doesn't
in it.
want us to like possess knowledge. He wants other people to have it too.
And it really comes across like in how he approaches everything.
Yeah.
Like his YouTube channel, his presence on social media, it's not just about self-promotion.
Right.
It's like these are extensions of his teaching. He's reaching beyond just those traditional academic circles.
Absolutely. And it's not just about dumbing things down either.
Right.
He really believes in student commitment,
Okay.
especially in online spaces.
Yeah. It's tough.
It is. He really gets that.
Yeah.
And he's constantly emphasizing how important that active participation is.
So it's like he's trying to build a community
Yeah.
around.
It's like, let's break down these barriers together.
I love that. And you know what else is great?
What's that?
This guy loves Greek cooking
Really?
and shares it online too.
No way.
And I'm telling you, there's something so like down to earth about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like even these brilliant minds have these like everyday passions.
It's a good reminder that like expertise doesn't come from nowhere.
Totally.
Our experiences, our interests, it all plays a part.
Okay, so we started with law firm trainee.
Right.
Now we're talking academic entrepreneur.
It's quite a journey.
Explored law, finance, education, all through this lens of Glenavos's work.
Yeah. It's really impressive.
But let's like zoom out for a sec.
Okay.
Why does all of this matter?
Well, to me, Glenavos's story, it's like this microcosm of these bigger trends that are like reshaping our whole world.
Okay, I see what you mean.
We see everything getting more interconnected, right?
Right.
Law, finance, tech. It's not these separate things anymore.
Yeah.
It's all weaving together.
Totally.
It's the fabric of like our global society now.
And we can't forget about education.
Right.
Like, how do we even navigate all this?
Exactly. It's not enough to just be like, I'm the expert in this one little thing anymore. It's like
Right.
you got to understand how all these different fields are like talking to each other.
Totally.
How to adapt to all this rapid change and then actually apply what, in a way that makes sense in this new world.
And that's what I find so fascinating about Glenavos. It's like his own career path,
Mm-hmm.
going from these like very traditional academic settings to then fully embracing online platforms.
Totally.
It's like, what does it even mean to be an expert now in the 21st century?
I know, right?
Like, is it just having that specialized knowledge?
Yeah.
Or is it about connecting those dots between all these different things?
Right, making the complex understandable, making it accessible.
Exactly. So for someone listening right now who maybe they're not a lawyer or a finance wizard, maybe they don't even like to cook.
Okay, yeah.
What's the takeaway? What can they learn from all of this?
I think it's about tapping into that same intellectual curiosity that we see in Glenavos.
Okay.
You don't have to be dealing with sovereign debt arbitration every day,
Right.
but understanding how those global forces all connect, that's crucial for everyone.
So it's about being like a lifelong learner,
Exactly.
being open to new ideas.
Yes. Don't be afraid to connect those dots, even if they seem totally random at first.
You never know what you'll discover.
Exactly. And that's what I love about these deep dives.
Me too.
We start with someone's story,
Yeah.
and we end up like questioning our assumptions.
Right.
And then imagining all these new possibilities.
It's pretty awesome.
It really is.